Okay, everybody. Welcome to End Your Job Search Now. This is the webinar. You're in the right place. It's me, Adam Ryder, the guy that sends out an extraordinary amount of emails. But hopefully you've gotten some good stuff from it, gotten some good intellectual property from me. Use it, enjoy it, read the book, I've got a bunch of them out there. Anyway, we'll dive in. I promise you I'm going to give you what you need to control your search and to amplify into a great role. And I want to tell you that today is the most critical day in your search. You won't hear this stuff anywhere else, so please stay till the end. I'll try to get through this quickly and then answer your questions and give you all the value and make you feel like this was a great use of your time. Who am I? Well, we know that I send out a lot of emails. We know that I've written a couple job search books. And my background, if you don't know, I ran staffing for some pretty big companies, a couple Fortune 500s. You can see my bio on the site sucklessjobsearch.com. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I've been an author of 3 job search books. The newest one is a good primer, Suck Less Job Search. It'll take you an afternoon to read. It's a quick one. I'm also a job search expert for CBS TV nationally. And I was a miserable failure as a job seeker. I was embarrassed to talk about it for years because, I mean, my gosh, if there's anybody that should be able to conduct a successful job search, it's a guy that runs staffing for Fortune 500s. The ultimate gatekeeper should know how to do this. I did not. I made all the mistakes that you're going to make or have made, except I made them like 1,000 times over. And I guarantee you, as you go through this, you will stop making the mistakes that I made. You'll stop making some of the mistakes that maybe you have made. Take control of this job search and convert offers that you really want. You will not hear anything like this anywhere else. This is really great stuff. Some people ask me why I named the book The Suck Less Job Search, my newest book. My gosh, it was such a frustrating experience for people in 2008, 2009 during the housing market crisis. 2010, people started feeling a little bit better. And I got a call from a lady that was referred to me. She wanted to work with me, but she wanted to know one thing before we engaged. She was a CFO for a Fortune 1000. She said, is there any way that you could make this job search suck less? And I thought, there you go. That is it. That's the pain that I felt. That's the pain that you probably feel. It's right on target. This is a terrible process. And if I can do this for her, I can do this for you. Make this job search suck just a little bit less, maybe even a lot less. Even make it engaging and get you to convert the offers that you really want. Your questions, I will answer questions. I'll have a Q&A at the end of the webinar. It's my pleasure. I love that. So get your questions ready. Some of you sent some in before, and I appreciate that. I will cover some resume stuff, interviewing techniques, job boards, what's real and what's not, transitions, amplifications, bulletproofing your career, all of it. I'll address this at the end. I know that you have a lot of questions. Yes, this job search stuff is critically important and very, very hard. We all think it's so easy. I thought it was. I thought this was going to be a breeze. I thought, I'll do this for about 3 weeks. I'll take it easy. I'll cherry pick some jobs and I'll convert something I really, really want. Next time I get a job, it's going to be something I really, really want. And I applied and I waited and I reached out to my network and I waited and I reached out to the headhunters I'd paid millions of dollars to in my career and I waited and yeah, right, nothing happened. I was just stuck in limbo, waiting and feeling awful and devaluing myself. It was the worst. I'm going to make that stop for you today. Now, there are these guys out there. They're firms that I try to push away, push the tide away. I give a lot of my intellectual property away. You can have my books. I do all this, the workshops, and I give away all this stuff because I really don't want you to use one of these firms. These magic firms where all you have to do is just kind of show up, answer some questions, and you got this team of people and they tap into the hidden job market, the great job market. Yeah, that really doesn't exist. People use them. It's called desperation. I mean, you get to a point in your job search, you're like, I can't take this anymore. So somebody that's selling you a magic pill, well, eat smart people. Some smart people that I know, some guys and gals that left Fortune 1000s, senior executives have paid these fees multiple times over and over again. So don't feel bad if you've been swindled by one of these firms. I know it's a tax write-off, but still, you don't want to waste your time because that's just handing jobs to your competition. This job search stuff is really critical. What I'm going to cover is just everything. I'm going to tell you the formula for this stuff. I'm going to show you how to end your job search like now, like take control so that you know what to do tomorrow. I'm going to go through the value stuff, resume strategy, LinkedIn strategy. I'm going to get you to bulletproof your job search by developing an evergreen brand. I'm going to get you to create job offers, big ones, for you and you alone. Now, I'm going to jump ahead and tease out some stuff. I want to give you some real good value right up front and tell you that the secret to my success in my job search was leveraging the influencer community. Who are influencers? Influencers are groups of people that have connection, have an open dialogue with C-suites and boards. So it could be venture capital firms, private equity firms, investment banks, large business law firms, large accounting firms, big consulting, like Bain, Deloitte, Accenture, Ernst & Young, Cognizant. These guys have access to the C-suite. They can whisper into the C-suite. They can whisper to the boards, and they can introduce you. They can even sell you in to these companies. They can really heat you up so these companies feel a need for you. You gotta tap the influencer market. That's what I did. So how I got my next job after I got laid off from that big tech company during the dot-com bust, big VCs. So the first job offer that I got that I took, I leveraged a VC that was at a company that I really wanted to work for, meaning this VC had a very diluted investment in this really large company. And I couldn't get access, I couldn't penetrate the C-suite at this company, I couldn't get myself introduced, I just was struggling. But I thought, could I access the VC? And the answer was yes. So I leveraged a group called LAVA, the LA Venture Association. You probably have some version of this in your locale, a venture capital group or a private equity group, an association. And I showed up at one of their events. I knew the executive director because I'd been going to their events. I knew that this VC showed up there. One of the portfolio managers was at an event. I had an introduction made by the person that runs LAVA, and we started dialogue. And this portfolio manager was asking me about my background, and I was asking him about some new acquisitions that they had. They're a really big VC, multinational, and he was talking to me about one of their new acquisitions. He was getting excited, and I was asking him questions, and he started asking me questions. He started asking me questions about HR, human resources. I'm not an HR guy. I'm a corporate staffing guy. I sit in HR, but I'm not an HR guy. So where he was trying to get me to talk about HR information systems, I wouldn't do it. He was trying to get me to talk about HR organizational development, I wouldn't do it. I knew better. I knew by talking about these things, by chasing things that he wanted to know about, but trying to show him I was an everything guy, that I knew it all, I was really devaluing myself. I was taking away from my specialty. I wasn't becoming a need resource, a scalpel. I was just becoming a nice guy. You don't want to be nice in your job search. You want to be need. In order for me to develop my need candidacy, I have to get my scalpel out there. I have to show him my specialty, how it can solve his pain. And that's what I did. I asked him about this company that this VC had a very diluted investment in. I said, would you like to reap some more benefit? He says, I don't think we can. They're in turnaround mode. It's pretty desperate over there. They're laying people off left and right. I said, if I could help you get some more cash out of them, would that be interesting? He says, yeah, but you're a staffing guy. How would that happen? And I took him through my operating system. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, and then you get this. Or in this particular case, the company gets this. And that was provocative enough for him to introduce me to his team. I was able to sell the team on my operating system, my value. They then traded my value to get value in return. They brought me into the C-suite. The C-suite ended up pulling the trigger on me, creating a job for me out of thin air because they needed this thing that I did so well. And that VC got money in return. The business at this Fortune 1000 started to turn around. Not solely based on me, of course, but I had my hand in it, and it was beneficial. So I used LAVA to meet a target VC, and later I used a group called CalFund, the California Community Foundation. You have a community foundation in your area. Your community foundation is fascinating. If you don't know what a community foundation does, these guys and gals take money from large corporations and they invest these monies. They give them away to charities in the forms of grants, grant money, or they'll take money from like a pension fund, and they will invest these monies for the pension fund, take a fee, and then distribute that money to nonprofit organizations in the form of grant money. But the interesting thing about the California Community Foundation is the person that runs it typically has the best Rolodex in town. They're a very secret connector. They're an influencer too. So I ended up using the California Community Foundation to get me access to what was my last job, which I ran staffing for a large entertainment company. They were the ones that got me in the door because I was able to offer them some value. I was a volunteer for their organization. So there's lots of interesting connectors and ways to get out there. And I told you, this is different. You're not going to hear this stuff anywhere else. But this is serious. I need you to take control of your search. I'm going to teach you a framework for success. Get these amplified roles, these jobs that, these companies don't know that they need you. You're a secret right now, and that's got to change. So the success framework, value. Value is the foundation of your search. If you never learn anything from me, ever, except for one thing, this is what I want you to learn. Your unique value in the market. I typically do 40 to 60 consults a week. So consultations with job seekers. I only take in somewhere between 18 and 25 people a month. And a lot of people want to work with me. People that come to me and tell me that they have their value rock solid, sometimes they don't like to hear what I have to say because almost always they get it wrong. As I did. I offered my unique value proposition that was so general, so weak, nobody needed it. I thought it was great, but I didn't validate it. Nobody else thought it was great. And I had to go through 4 iterations of my unique value proposition, my operating system, to convert. I finally validated it, but it was for such a small community, but it worked. So what I ask you is this: do you know your value? Are you sure? Your job search depends on it. Are you 100% positive that you know your value and you know that companies want it? Most get this wrong. Is it worth it to figure out if you can get it right? If it's validated? I hope that it is. I need you to go through the validation process. Because if you're wrong, you're doing what I did. You're stepping aside so others can take the jobs you deserve. A few weeks back, I did a podcast where I was so frustrated in my job search. I finally got somebody to take a meeting with me, a CHRO that I'd worked for before, Chief Human Resource Officer that I'd worked for before. And she said, "What's the matter with you? I don't even recognize you. You're all beat up. Your energy's off. It's weird. I don't recognize you. Shape up. What's wrong with you?" And I said, "What's wrong is I've been just flailing in my job search. I can't get anybody to call me back. Can't even get through phone screens. I mean, I taught people how to do this. It's like silly. I know what overqualified means. I'm just getting beat up. I think I need to figure out a new strategy." She said, "You need to figure out something. And I'm going to light a fire under you right now." And I said, "Okay, go for it." And she said, "Would you like to run staffing at Disney?" And I said, "You know I want to do that. That was the ultimate job for me. That's the job that I really, really wanted." She said, "Okay. Did you know that job was open?" I said, "No way. I would have known." She says, "No, it was open." And I said, "And is it still open?" She said, "No, it's not still open. Of course not. Somebody got that job. Do you know who?" And I said, "Obviously I don't." And she mentioned the name of this person, and I freaked out. I swore, I stomped my feet, I got all red. I was just so upset, infuriated. The person that got this job was somebody I had developed. Now, this person is talented, but they're not me. I taught this person. It made me crazy. So if you're wrong, like I was wrong, if you're not going for it, if you don't know your unique value in the market, if your product is bad, meaning there isn't an audience for it, my product was bad, you're literally stepping aside so others can take the jobs that you really deserve. So value creation. Really 4 ways. Number 1, your resume. You can look at your resume and think, okay, what's repetitive that I do here? And look at your resume and look for repetitive wins. Oh, I did this thing here, and I did it here too, and I did this here, and I did it here. Maybe that's part of my operating system. Maybe that's part of my unique value proposition. Another way to do it, you can reach out to former colleagues. I did this. I found this fascinating. I reached out to people that worked for me, 5. And I reached out to people that I worked for, 5. I got them on the phone, no emails. I got them on the phone and I said, when we worked together, how did you know me professionally? And they all basically told me a version of the same thing. I rolled that into my operating system. That was part of my value proposition. Reverse engineer. So let's say you've got a whole, let's say you decide, all right, I want to work for small cap companies in the consumer packaged goods space that are trying to penetrate international markets. Great. Now, if you find all these companies, what's the pain? Are they having trouble penetrating those international markets? If you can find some theme in pain that they're all trying to do something and you think you can help them with that, fantastic. You can build your brand that way. That's reverse engineering. Or, of course, me. I'm really good at identifying with you what's full engagement, what you want to be known as, what you're really great at, and measuring it again against the market. And I can show you how you can validate this. It's fun. This is rock solid. This is the foundation of your job search. Your unique value in the market and who wants it. Okay. You got to validate. This is the thing that I got wrong. I came up with, my first brand was Staffing Infrastructure Guy. Nobody wanted that. Nobody cared about that. That put me on the bus with 300 other people. You wouldn't want that guy. Why would you need a staffing infrastructure guy? That was a terrible value. The next one was a version of fixing stuff. The next version was something related to solutions provider. Okay, that sucked too. It was all lame until I went and developed this operating system. It was really informed by the play where I reached out to former colleagues. I reached out to the CHRO at this one big company I work for, and she told me something that I did that was so unique. I thought it was basic, so unique. I ended up making the cornerstone of my brand, the cornerstone of my operating system. And so I really had to go back to the well to figure this out. But once I did, I validated, I found out that certain companies wanted it, and I started to convert in a major, major way. Resumes, I really don't like them. And I don't like them not because it's a junky document. They can be, I at one point in time in my career, really liked writing them. The reason I don't like them is because you lean on it too hard. It's a crutch. What does everybody want? When somebody talks to me on the phone, what do they want me to do? They want me to look at their resume. And that's fine. But it's not the resume that's going to do it for you. You're going to do it for you. It's the you part, not the resume. The resume is a bad brochure. It begs that you're in a direct mail campaign. Here's this document of me that can never represent all of me, and I'm sending it to you. Decision maker? No, gatekeeper. Sending it to a gatekeeper, and I'm hoping that you, even though you don't know what I do for a living, that you'll champion me and pass me up the chain. Yeah, that doesn't happen. The average corporate recruiter is trying to fill 10 open job requisitions a week, is looking at 300 resumes plus per open job requisition, even with all that keywording business. That's a lot of resumes to look at. You don't want to go through gatekeepers. You want to bypass them. So the resume stuff, if you lean on that too hard and you keep working on it and spending thousands and thousands of dollars on it, you might as well just save your money. There's a real simple secret to developing a sticky resume, and I hope that you stop sending it out to gatekeepers. I hope that you start showing it to decision makers, bypassing those gatekeepers. The secret to making it stick is to focus on repetitive wins. So repetitive wins. In my resume, you can see my brand fleshed out in each one of my job entries. I make it really obvious. I did this thing here, and I did it 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 here. It'd be very difficult to look at my resume and not see what you get when you hire me, because I keep saying the same stuff over and over and over again. It's brand affirming wins. And then the next piece is speed to relevant information. You want to get into your job entries as quickly as possible. So if I can't see your first job entry and your second job entry on page 1, you're losing me as an audience. You're going to lose your audience. You really want to not have a whole bunch of summaries. People don't read summaries in your header or below your header. You really just want to jump into Here's the great stuff I did. Here's what great stuff I did at this company, at this company, at this company. Because that's what they want to know. They want to know what great stuff you did where. So again, speed to relevant information, repetitive wins, you're going to be just fine. Strategy. You got your foundation. You got your document already. It's all sticky and ready to go. Fantastic. You're not going to send it out to gatekeepers anymore because now you got strategy. Job search math. Everybody knows this. Nobody focuses on this. Job search math goes like this. The more people that know you plus feel a need for you equals the better the job, faster it comes. So your job every day of the week, you think about, okay, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do tomorrow? You're going to try to get more people into your network. You're going to just figure out how to get one more decision maker, influencer, or connector into your network. Just that's the thing. You just need one more person to feel a need for you and you will convert. So you trade value to get value in return. You keep your lane. So the way that I reignited my own network isn't that, by the way, didn't engage. This was C-suite people, Fortune 1000s. The way that I got my own network, and a lot of these guys didn't take my call. It's very upsetting. But once I figured out my value proposition, my operating system, I wasn't taking 7 minutes to describe what I do to them or re-engage them in a way where they would feel comfortable opening doors for me. Instead, I went back to them and said, would you like this thing? Would you like this thing? Would you like this thing? I got way more no's than I got yeses. But once they heard the operating system, I do this, to this, to this, to this, and then you get this. How do you do this? Explain that thing to me. So let me just give you one example. One of the pillars of my operating system was I was able to take data, this is before people talked about business intelligence, I was able to take data from finance and sales ops. I was able to identify opportunity where there was market congestion or there was economic tumult. So a business unit in a large enterprise was at risk. They were going to face some pretty tough times financially, bad economy. And I would take that business unit, I would identify the players in that business unit, I would move them to a safer business unit, and then I would do a reduction in force. So this was something that nobody had ever seen before from a staffing leader. I was able to help some companies that had some really tough economic times ride out some pretty tough storms. This was one of the pillars of my operating system. How do you do this? They would ask. What do you do with this data? How does this work? How do you identify the people to move? How do you roll this out? It was fantastic. That's what I'm talking about in terms of a high-level brand. If you can trade value to ignite your existing network, they will give you connectors. They will introduce you to companies that need you. You need to get that operating system going so you can trade value to get value in return. This is real good strategy stuff. Networking, I don't want you to go, let's say you're a marketing professional, okay? When I ask a marketing pro how they network, they'll say, I go to the American Marketing Association meetings, okay? The Direct Marketing Association meetings, okay? And how does that work for you? Well, I mean, they have great speakers and there's, white wine, okay, and then, well, just go there to hear about jobs. Do you? Well, I mean, people talk to me about jobs. Actually, a lot of people want to know if I'm hiring or if I know of something. And so you go to network, you go to market yourself to your competition. Yeah, that's not working. I don't want you to network that way. I want you to always be the 900-pound gorilla. I want you to put yourself in situations, if you're going to network offline, in groups where it's industry-based, not jobs-based, and people can marinate in your expertise. You're one of the few experts in your space, if not the only expert in your space, where you can really educate these people. That's real networking, not going and showing up to something where people want to drink bad white wine and ask you if you're looking for the same jobs they are. Now, building your legend. It just takes one influencer. That VC firm that I leveraged to get in the door, that first one, and get that wonderful job offer, this person chases me always. Every year I hear from this guy. As a matter of fact, I built a cadre of true fans, and they reach out to me always. They remember me as this guy. that does this one thing the best. They remember the legend. They always want me back in the game. That allowed me some kind of safety and ignition. Companies did not want to lose me because I had hype. There were people that knew me as this guy that did this one thing the best. They could not afford to let me fly out in the wind. They took care of me. And I always knew that if I did leave, I'd always have something lined up because I built an evergreen brand. I was known by a cadre, true fans, mostly VC and private equity guys that knew me as this guy that did this one thing the best and constantly wanted me in their game. That's good stuff. You can do this. You can build this evergreen brand. I still get it. I haven't run staffing for an organization in 14 years. I still get 1 or 2 job offers every month where these people still reach out to me. And this isn't a huge network. These are, a couple hundred guys, but they know me. They know the legend. LinkedIn, another thing people want me to check out all the time. They want me, please look at my LinkedIn profile, look at my LinkedIn profile. Okay, I don't care about your LinkedIn profile that much, and the reason is nobody's looking for you there, at least nobody of note, unless you want to sell life insurance, those companies are looking for you. Unless you want to sell supplements, those companies are looking for you. Schlocky contingency search firms, those guys don't do business anymore, but they'll look for you. Maybe some corporate recruiters, okay. But that's still the gatekeeper game. Who's really looking for you on LinkedIn? Nobody of note. There are no CEOs trying to find you on LinkedIn. There are none. And if there were, you would not want to work for a CEO that spent their day looking for you on LinkedIn. So success on LinkedIn is really not about your profile. It's really more about what you do on LinkedIn. It's about your legend. You can build your legend by corralling decision makers, influencers, and connectors, and having a dialogue, swelling need, positioning yourself as a strategist, as a value add, coming up with solutions to their problems, identifying their pain. The one thing in a job search that you can never find is a recurring dialogue, a real discourse about what these companies are trying to engage in, what you can do to help them to really identify your value and architect your next job. The harder the job market, if you haven't figured out, jobs are created for specific people. Companies want to know that you can fit within their corporate culture and have the requisite wins to achieve the business mission. How do you think you'll get that? Get that out there to these decision makers. LinkedIn, you can really build your legend. Create your target audience. Have them know you as the guy, the gal that does this one thing the best. This is really, really important stuff. And again, read the book. I have some great strategies for you on LinkedIn. I don't want you to do this alone. This is a very, very hard process to do as a solo sport. It's so hard. I mean, here I was a guy, I got laid off. I'd had all these big jobs. I really never had to look for a job outside of getting recruited by Federated Department Stores out of college. After that, I never really had to look for a job. I was brought from job to job by mentors until the dot-com bust, and I had to fend for myself. And I did this thing by myself. I was embarrassed to talk to people about this job search. I tried to talk to my wife about this stuff, and that was tough. That was a real strain on our marriage. I tried to talk to friends about this stuff. That was a really difficult thing because I could blow them off when I wasn't feeling good, and that was a strain on those relationships. You need to find an accountability partner. If you're going to do this right, you need somebody in the game with you that can help you, kind of springboard and bounce stuff and spitball and just start a dialogue about what's happening. They can probably offer you better information than you can offer yourself. That's for sure, actually. Don't spend the 10 to 25K on those crazy firms. Forget it. Don't focus on dumb stuff. If something's not working for you, I used to ask people, Google the percentage of jobs filled through job boards. If job boards fill 3 to 5% of open jobs, why are you spending 99% of your time on them? They don't work. Companies don't hire high-level talent off of job boards. Again, they hire people that they know that can fit within their corporate culture and have the requisite wins to achieve the business mission. It's not hard to find talent these days. Companies just don't want to gamble. They don't want to hire you and then blow you out in 90 days because you're not a great fit. So check your return on this stuff. Vet stuff out. Say, I will do this strategy for 3 weeks, and if it doesn't yield any result, I'm going to dash it and move on to something else. Find new strategies. Really invigorate your job search. This is important. You're launching a product, your most important product, the product of you. You've got to figure out who your customer is and convert with new strategies. You will make mistakes, but I made way more. But you're in control now. You're going to decide every day what you're going to do to take massive action, and that's good. Talk to me. You can talk to me. You can get on the phone with me. I won't talk about my services unless you ask me. That's something that I really think is neat. I'll give you benefit. I'll give you real guidance related to your job search. You never have to pay me a dime. And if you want to work with me, we can certainly talk about that stuff. You can see my services on this link right here. And here we go. I love the questions. So we're about to get into Q&A stuff. If you need anything, you can reach out through the website, sucklessjobsearch.com, or email my trusty assistant, Chris, at info@sucklessjobsearch.com. And just a little plug to that guy. This guy has been working for me for 20 years. 20 years. He knows more about job search stuff than probably I do. He can answer your questions for sure, anything related to job search stuff. Thank you for listening. Let's get into Q&A. I appreciate you spending the time with me.